What the title actually refers to, of course, it didn't even occur to me, is...
Neither me.
Yeah.
I felt really stupid afterwards. I was like, how did I not notice that? That's so obvious.
Yeah, it's of course, Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Feminist Frequency's second Halt and Catch Fire recap FREQCast. Confusingly, this second episode is actually on the fourth season's fourth episode. If you want to hear what Anita and I had to say about episodes 1 through 3, go back and listen to episode 1. But this week, while Anita is gallivanting across other parts of the globe for various reasons, I'm very happy to be joined by my friend and friend of the site, Ryan O'Donnell. Ryan, hi.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, you know, before we dive into like the nitty gritty of this episode's kind of plot and stuff, I wanted to talk to you a bit about, so you're a filmmaker and you're working on the Outer Lands documentary series, where I imagine sometimes you kind of probably have to like think about or figure out how do we shoot this like old tech, this old gaming tech or whatever, in a way that kind of looks cool or attractive or whatever.
I would say specifically the Halt and Catch Fire seasons 1 and 2 in particular were I don't know, very inspiring in terms of looking at that old equipment and thinking like, this nostalgia works on me. The aesthetic of this show and these old pieces of equipment, they are, you know, they've got some magic to them if you use them in the past, and sometimes even if you haven't, just because it's so much different than, you know, the rectangles of glass that comprise our entire life these days.
Right. Yeah, and so obviously Halt is a show that it often reinvents itself as it kind of leaps through time. It's kind of about reinvention because Joe, as a character, I think constantly reinvents himself. And I imagine, like, to some degree, I think the look of the show also has to kind of evolve or change in somewhat significant ways as it does that. Like, are there any things, like, you would say about season 4's look in particular that kind of, that you just notice aesthetically what it's doing? Yeah,
I mean, I feel like the first thing that jumped out at me right in the first episode of season 4 was the color grading. Everything is very, I don't know, it's all pulled toward like the green end of the spectrum. It's like green and yellow, which made me think of it makes me think of the 90s.
Sure.
It feels like, what are the best reference points? Like The Matrix. It looks very much that color. Most of the films of David Fincher, which were, you know, like, really getting popular during that period, also sort of look that color. Television shows from that era look that color. I find it to be a little disorienting and gross, but I think it, it makes me think exactly what you're saying, that like they want the picture to remind you of that time. And I would say even in some of the composition and maybe even the lenses that they're choosing to use, this episode in particular reminded me how like stylized the framing is. You know, you get these shots, like, not to jump too ahead in terms of the plot, but you know, there's the scene with where Gordon and Joe are playing pool, and you've got this like very like single point perspective shot down the center of the table, and the orange 5-ball is framed directly in the center, and they look kind of small off in the distance. Or a shot like when at the Series A party for Rover, Donna is sort of like setting it up and giving a toast at the beginning, and they shoot her from very low underneath with a wide angle lens so that she looks, you know, big and important, and then the reverse shot is again sort of like this very composed center angle shot of her framing out the people that are in the party in the background and that sort of thing. It doesn't feel, I would say, I remember thinking, it's been a while since I watched season 1, but I remember feeling like the show felt more naturalistic at that point, and a little bit more like, I don't know, it felt like it was trying to mimic what Mad Men had done in terms of its framing and feeling just like a like a film.
Right.
Whereas this feels more like a little bit more like a music video. Something a little bit more commercial and stylized, television-y.
Yes.
It feels like, I think it's trying to, does that evoke the 90s? Maybe it does a little bit. Like, I remember being, I was a teenager in that time, and I was watching a lot of MTV, and I don't know, I guess, and commercials were punchier at that time. There was that attitude, and maybe they just wanted to put that feeling in your mind.
Well, with that in mind, let's dive into this episode. So this episode is called Tonya and Nancy, and when I first read that title, I thought, okay, that's in reference to two characters on the show, because we already know that there's a Tonya on the show, and I knew that Anna Chlumsky was debuting as a character on this. I actually don't know if that's how you pronounce her name.
I can't. I have no idea.
Child star from My Girl, Anna Chlumsky. I hope I'm saying her name right. I should have looked it up beforehand.
Also in Veep now.
Oh, is she? Okay. Okay. I thought maybe her character's name is going to be Nancy, and so there'd be the Nancy on the Comet side and the Tonya on the Rover side or something. But no, what the title actually refers to, of course, it didn't even occur to me, is
neither me. I felt really stupid afterwards. I was like, how did I not notice that? That's so obvious.
It's of course Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding. The rivalry between them is happening at the time. This episode takes place during that time.
Yeah.
So this obviously what's going on here is it's the rivalry between these two search engines, and which have these very different kind of approaches to the early problem or question of how do we catalog the web, how do we search the web. And I don't know much at all about early search engine history, but so obviously, Comet right now is going for this human approach, right, where they have experts by hand, writing editorial descriptions of sites and everything. And I wonder, today this idea of having human beings catalog the web is comical, because it's so completely implausible, right? I wonder if there was a time where people actually approached kind of designing search engines in that way.
I feel like I got online a little later than most, because my parents didn't want to have a computer in the house or whatever. We had an old computer. It does strike me that this approach, whether it is just early AOL, or Prodigy or any of those things, there was the idea of a home page, where on your home page there would be the site of the day, and I really do think that the human curation element is a true. It's real. That was something that was happening at the time. And it wasn't. Even the early. I remember using Alta Vista search pretty early on, before Google, and thinking that it was not great. It took a while before, when the results you wanted to get were the results that came up first. In the days pre-Google, you couldn't be sure that you were going to find what was out there. It felt like there was a vast web. There's a vast web of information, and you would be lucky to get exactly what you wanted to find. So I don't know if the timeline works out exactly right in terms of, do we know what year we think this is? Have they said, is it 93 or
I believe, I want to say it's 93.
Okay. It seems like they might be hitting this timeline perfectly. I like the idea that the web is so small that you could curate it with humans, and just, not to jump ahead here, but just hire a bunch of nerdy obsessives to come in and do the writing for you.
And I love, so as a Bay Area resident, my favorite little reference was that the film guy is from LaVideo, which is a phenomenal video store here in San Francisco.
A former video store.
Did it close?
So it was.
I haven't been there, and obviously I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, so it actually their entire stock was bought by the Alamo Drafthouse.
Oh,
so they own all the material, and right now they host Lost Weekend Videos film collection inside that you can rent. So basically, the inside of our movie theater is a rental store.
Yeah.
Rental store.
Yes.
But a lot of what La Video has is on. They have a crazy VHS collection.
Okay.
They have a lot of different films. I don't know if all of that stuff has been integrated into what is currently available at the Drafthouse, or if it's just in holding and they're trying to figure out what to do with it.
Okay, yes, but that was a little thrill for me as a big fan of La Video when I spent more time in that neighborhood.
And even just having like I spent a lot of my time when I was in the 90s going to record stores, and there was a period where Tower Records was legitimately like a good store despite being a chain, and along with all of our mom and pop shops that we would go to. We would go to many of the different Tower Records around. I'm from Southern California, so from that area. But all that stuff tracks, and I like the idea. Let's get the nerds. I was sad there was not a video game nerd to, that they didn't hire someone from whatever the staff of GM. I guess they wouldn't have been in San Francisco at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but missed opportunity. Come on, Comet, you better get on that because. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they already in the last episode they had the Electronic Gaming Monthly that Cameron reads her review.
Yes, yes.
I guess they're not totally disregarding the video game world.
No, the
video game press from the era.
Yeah. So in this episode, Cameron sort of has this almost this sort of moment that seems destined, right, where she's out riding her motorcycle, and she has a bit of a problem, and she's right there in front of this beautiful plot of land with the sign that's speaking to her that says if you lived here you'd be home by now, of course, right? And so Cameron obviously seems to be in some way looking for something a little more tangible, a little more physical, maybe outside of the tech world right now. She's obviously as she says a little bit later to Boz, she's maybe going through some early midlife crisis kind of thing.
I feel like, so if I have a critique of this this season, but definitely this episode, but the season overall, it's that it does really feel like it's the plot is driving everything.
Yeah.
We're not taking very much time to sort of live in to get this. The world building is all delivered as a vehicle for the plot,
right?
And most of the characters are, they change rapidly because time shifts rapidly. But generally speaking, I feel like the creators know that we know these characters, know that the show is coming to an end, and has an idea about what the quote unquote story is, and they're really driving us that way.
Yeah,
and it feels a little speedy to me.
Yeah,
and I think that the Cameron plot thread through this episode of her. Quarter or her whatever early midlife crisis.
Is, more quarter whatever.
Crisis,
right.
Is emblematic of this change, and so much so that we didn't even know that she was going to feeling any of these feelings before the very beginning of this episode.
Right.
And then by the end of the episode, it seems like that's done and gone, and she's already moved on to back to where she was, back to home, and she's got a purpose and a new rift put into her relationship.
Oh man, quite a rift. Yeah. So I mean, I definitely agree that plot it's more plot driven and less character driven, and I like my dramas to be more character focused. I like them to take their time to be observant of their characters and just interactions. And I'm hoping, I guess, that in its final few episodes, because the strength of this show, in my opinion, it's obviously the tech is just really, it's mostly a tool in the narrative to create situations that let us explore the relationships between these characters and observe the relationships between these characters.
100%, yeah.
So I'm hoping that it kind of shifts gears back. Once things are set in motion, that we kind of take things a little slower.
Right, and it's not that the plot. I mean, I feel like they've done interesting things with this sort of overall season level plot. Before, especially in season 3, the end of season 3, where we get that big time jump and the move to Japan and all of this sort of stuff. That is actually exciting. And given that they did that at the end of the last season, and given that this is the last season, and I keep asking myself, where are we going to end up? Like, what's like you said, because the technology is the lens through which we're looking at things, and because so many technologies are already hinted at. We are obviously fighting the search battle right now. Cameron's game fails, but does that game look like all it needs is an internet component to become World of Warcraft or something like that? And are we going to end? Is there going to be a time jump and we end? When the iPhone is announced, or like where do we end up with these characters? Yeah. And I think that part of the like racing speed of everything is because this is the end, and they want to get us to a particular place before we stop. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a little, Cameron and Joe's relationship throughout the whole series has obviously been so tumultuous. So there's been so much drama surrounding that, and I guess I sort of hope, to be honest, that when they seem to kind of really come together early in the season with that great long phone conversation, and then they're living together, like that at least that they had kind of come to an understanding with each other, and that they'd really figured out how to communicate, how to be there for each other. But clearly that's not the case yet, it seems to me. Like, so all of Cameron's stuff with the Airstream, Joe, tells Gordon at one point that he hates it out there. He's not into it, but I don't think I feel like he and Cameron, they're not like compromising. They're not like communicating really about these things. And that's, it's almost like, I don't know. I don't want the show. I wish the show wouldn't kind of keep milking that for drama, because I want those characters to, I don't know, I just want them to be like, they figured it out now. They're a little older, they're a little wiser, they know how to be there for each other. I'm right there with you. And I guess, again, to go back to this, it seems like it's moving a little too fast. Like, that scene in particular of them on the phone in episode 2 or whatever, it went slow. Like, that was the whole episode. It lingered, and that was great character stuff. That's I love that. That was wonderful. And so I, like you, I would hate to see like, oh, okay, like now they're gonna fight again. And it was already when she finally gets her Airstream set up. And they're all sitting outside having a beer. We got Boz there again. Gordon's out there, and you really begin to realize, damn, they're just gonna do this. They're gonna set up all 5 of our main characters again to be split into 2 teams, working against each other, which instantly is gonna cause more drama and conflict. Like, how long ago was it where Gordon and Joe were in a lawsuit against each other. Right. And now they're best buds. I just want to work with you. What are you excited about now? This, us. Like, It's a little, it all just feels a little bit contrived and a little bit too fast. And you kind of wish, like, I don't know. I thought that the promise of the first episode of this season was, oh, wow, everyone's working in their own little spaces. You've got Joe interested in search. You've got Gordon, who's basically running an ISP. You've got Boz, who's trying to figure it out, but at least he's got a cool personal relationship with Diane, who's like, that's an interesting and cool new character. And then Cameron, as a game developer, it seemed like they had their fingers in a whole bunch of different pies, and now all the things are aiming to one spot. Right. So, very much so. So, I was thinking at a certain point in this episode, why do we as viewers really care how Rover? I mean, it seemed like, okay, at a certain point in this episode, I'm like, well, all of us are going to be on Team Comet, because why would we want Donna to succeed in like crushing her own daughter's enterprise? I mean, Donna now seems kind of ruthless, kind of cold. I mean, in her professional role, which obviously has all these personal implications, because again, she's in direct opposition to her daughter, and then his husband. And then of course, though, it becomes clear, oh, okay, so Boz has this financial problem. He's in like tremendous debt. He's in serious trouble, and obviously, so then Cameron
so obviously we, I think, are sympathetic to Boz, and then Cameron, obviously on the down low, is helping them. I mean, while she's in a relationship with Joe, I mean, it's just so tangled up. It's really it's a lot of conflicting desires and motivations, and Cameron, I imagine, kind of hates that she's indirectly helping Donna because she's still really, they have issues that they have not come close to resolving.
Yeah, which makes very clear, like, that's a scene that's coming probably in the next episode, is the Donna and Cameron. Like, Donna's got, like, already has wind that, I can't remember the character's name, the coder for Rover.
Is it Cecil?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That he maybe didn't write this algorithm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To go back to your initial point, though, the other thing is that we have the benefit of living now in 2017 and knowing what happens, and we know that the search is this show is somewhat set in the real world, so neither Rover or Comet is the search engine we use, but beyond that, algorithmic search is the thing that wins out in the end.
Right.
Like that Joe's like core idea is somewhat failed, unless what I thought when Haley was originally working on her first page, I just tapped my mic, sorry there. I thought that the implication was not that they were going for a curated homepage, but that they'd end in social media, which,
Oh, wow.
So, like, something more like, oh, this is my personal page. I'm showing you the stuff that I like, this sort of stuff. So, is there, like, my assumption is that there will be an eventual pivot to something that's more akin to social media by one of the two teams.
I think you're right. I mean, obviously, like, I think we're going to want to go out feeling like all of these characters, while they don't end up being the Googles of the world or the huge internet successes. We know that they in some way succeed on their own terms, right? That they contribute something meaningful, and that they kind of, I imagine it will be like they, in one way or another, all ride off into the sunset, somewhat fulfilled, whether that means Cam and Joe riding off in an Airstream together.
I'm worried. Because I think that there are too many seeds planted for in terms of Gordon's health issues.
Well, they haven't mentioned that all season, have they?
And I honestly think that they're gonna get us with it, because they're making Gordon feel really good right now. Like, he's making all the right choices. He's succeeding.
Man,
he's being such a good father.
And he's got the potential. Like, there's obviously something exciting going on with him and the Anna Chlumsky character. They're ontological experts, right? They're flirting and stuff.
I watched the first couple episodes of season 3 recently, and the beginning of that is him working down with the server in their same building, and he's like writing his pain or his disorientation level in his notebook. Like, hey, I'm at a number 7 today. This is pretty bad. Like, all those seeds have been there since season 1, so it's gonna have to come back to roost at some point in the season.
Oh, Ryan, you're so right.
It makes me very sad, because I really like Gordon.
I do too.
Scoop McNairy's just got a good look.
He's like, so great.
Name.
But I just love him as an actor. I love him in this role.
Worried for Gordon.
Oof. Man, I think they want us to basically forget about that. And you just had to go and remind me, Ryan.
That's what I'm here for.
But
okay, so let's, I feel like we have been talking very generally, but in terms of the specific moment scenes. I really enjoyed the Anna Chlumsky introduction scene when she's talking about how she organizes death metal for her brother. That was a very wonderful scene.
It was.
I feel like on the weaker side, the scene where the entire Comet staff is doing the log contest stuff, logging pages.
They're like racing to log pages. And
some of the writing in that episode, or in that sequence in particular, and in this episode on a sort of more macro scale, just feels a little poppy and too convenient and too cheesy, and again too plot forwarding. And I kind of wish that it.
I agree. I mean, I think that's a tendency the show has always struggled with a bit. I mean, I remember in I guess it was early in season 3. There was a moment when one of the people who was like one of the regular sort of mutiny guys, I don't remember what the character's name, but anyway, there's a little conversation about like how to pronounce GIF, like is it GIF or GIF, and I'm like, that's a little like, I don't think anyone was having that conversation at that point in time. It's a little like on the nose, kind of like, hey, we know what's going on. Yeah. And yeah, like, it didn't really feel, plausible to me. It felt kind of, that scene felt pretty mechanical.
Yeah, or contrived.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that where I kind of wish that it didn't feel the need to be so clever and to get every little reference in. Yeah. You know, because when they feel more subtle, it's strong. I feel like it's stronger.
Right.
Like the Levidio one, I like that. Like
that reference, I mean,
and not everyone. People who don't live in San Francisco or in the Bay Area aren't gonna notice that anyway.
Right.
It's just gonna come off as like a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
I prefer that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we both hope that in what remains of this season, which is what remains of this show, that it takes more time to let its characters just kind of live in the moment and interact with each other in ways that feel more natural, more, and less kind of obviously mechanical and moving the plot forward.
Right. One of the better sequences probably is, because it's mostly wordless in my opinion, is Cameron in the rain dealing with her airstream. It did feel like, oh yeah, this is the bad part of owning.
She has this
recreational vehicle.
She has this.
Whoops.
Probably fine. She has this dream, this kind of, you get the sense, she's got this idealized vision of what it's going to be like, and then she has to confront the reality of, there's maintenance and there's work and there's, grime and crap you have to deal with, literally.
And no one, it seems like no one's on her side. No one sees the vision but her. Like, even as you said, Joe specifically says to Gordon later that he's not into it, but even when she invites everyone out, they have this party, and she's like, hey, drink another beer. No one wants to do it with her, and before you know it, Joe's in bed and sleeping. She has to drink her last one by herself.
And then, there's that, obviously she's feeling like an outsider right now, I think, as she often does. She comes, there's that also the scene when she comes to the house and Joe and a bunch of people are watching Tonya and Nancy, and Cameron doesn't even know who they are, right? Are you team Nancy or team Tonya? And she's like, are those skating people? Like, she doesn't care, but that also shows how she's not really engaging in what's the sort of what everyone else is engaging with in the culture at that moment, right? And Joe doesn't seem to be doing the work of reaching out to her and making it clear that she's a priority to him either, right?
Right.
So and I mean, I like these relationship dynamics, and I just hope that again, I hope they play out in ways that feel kind of natural and less kind of like, the story is grinding its gears here.
And I just thought of another one of the spots that it was like a little crinkle, like that doesn't. These are the things that make it feel just a little too convenient. It just doesn't play for me. But the pot stickers thing, right? Like, you get Haley talking to Donna saying, like, let's get some pot stickers. Obviously, she doesn't get them by the end of that scene.
Yeah.
Because,
Joni wants pizza.
But then she's team pot stickers and ends up winning a trophy, and then they're eating their food off of a trophy, giant surfboard with the word pot stickers on it. Like, and it all happens within a 10, 15-minute span. Yeah. It's just a little too, it wraps up too nicely. It's just like too much of a little bow.
Right. Yeah,
I guess I should also qualify and say that we recently have watched a lot of Twin Peaks: The Return, which does the exact opposite of this, and so maybe my brain is just tuned to for a little bit more weirdness,
like ambiguity. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I do get frustrated when any drama, I think, tends to wrap everything up very neatly, because life, life, it doesn't work like that at all. But there's still plenty of, I mean, not plenty of time, but there's plenty of opportunity, I think, for the show to really, maybe this season is still kind of finding its legs, and I think there's still every opportunity that it will finish strong in the remaining episodes.
I mean, if the pace at which it's currently going is any indication, so just to thinking about it here, I wrote some of these things down.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the episode, Comet was literally just Gordon, Haley, and Joe.
Right.
And by the end, they have a full team of employees. And they're getting offers and turning down offers.
Yes.
You've got a new love interest for Gordon revealed within the course of this one episode.
Right.
Cam has her early midlife crisis and is basically over it by the end. You've got a rift that started between Cam and Joe when it feels like they literally just got together. And Rover's had their Series A. Even though at the beginning of the episode they're talking about never, you're not getting your Series A.
Right.
And in the middle of it we have again characters whose names I can't remember, but from the Rover team there's a scene where the woman is like holding her belly to remind us that she's pregnant, and all of this stuff just happens at such a rapid pace that, like, I think on the positive side, it probably means we're gonna go places this season. If they need to speed through a single episode this fast, we've probably got a lot more plot ahead.
I imagine we're gonna look back on this episode, and it's a functional episode. It's maybe a setup episode that when we look back, hopefully when the season is complete, we'll say, okay, that episode was not great as in and of itself, but it did kind of cover the ground needed to get us to where the series, wanted to go, and then the good stuff came after that.
Sure. I really hope that's true.
Yeah. All right. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Thanks, Ryan, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be back each and every week until Halt and Catch Fire is done. So come back next week for our next recap episode. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Bye bye.